Hello, I'm Richard Murphy, and I want to talk about the creation of more quantitative easing in the UK. That's going to happen. If it doesn't happen this week at the meeting of the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee, it's going to happen sometime very soon thereafter, because we are running out of money in the UK. Oh no, we're not really running out of money. We're running out of money circulating in our economy in the UK. And that's something that's very different. It is impossible to run out of money in the UK if the government is willing to create enough to keep us all going, because that's their job. After all, they make the pound and they have a duty to make sure we have enough of them. But right now, we probably haven't got enough pounds to keep us all going. Why is that? Because we're putting in the economy into lockdown. What happens when we put the economy into lockdown? It shrinks. What happens when it shrinks? People spend less. What does that mean? People become more cautious, they save more, they worry about the rainy day, which may be coming their way, money is hidden away, there's less money going around in circles, and that is threatening to the liquidity of businesses and households. There's literally not enough money to make the economy move. So the government's job is to actually make up the gap. And this is not surprising, nothing unusual about it, although some people like to represent that it is, because normally if the economy is growing, which is the situation that we've all been used to throughout our lifetimes, however old we are, then actually the new money that we need to keep the economy going around is created day in and day out by commercial bank lending. Every time a bank lends, it creates new money. And because the amount of bank lending has been rising steadily over decades, there's always been enough new money created to keep us functioning, to keep the show on the road. When we go into reverse, that isn't true. The banks aren't lending as much. There's no new government-backed lending at the moment for business. And people tend to save when they're threatened with a recession, and that takes money out of circulation. So the government has to create new money to keep the economy going. And it does that very simply. It does it through the Quantitative Easing programme. What happens when the government does this strangely named process? Well, the Bank of England itself says on its website that they make new money. And they do it incredibly simply. There's no printing press involved, by the way. Let me be absolutely clear. This is not printing, this is creating. And it's done on a computer keyboard. Quite simply, what happens is the Bank of England lends money to a company that it owns called the Bank of England Asset Purchase Finance Facility. Long name, but that's what it's called. And that new money is created on a keyboard. All they do is say, we'll put £100 billion in the loan account from the Asset Purchase Finance Facility, and we'll put £100 billion into the Asset Purchase Facility's current account. £100 billion negative, £100 billion positive. That's exactly what is done on a computer keyboard. It would take less time to make £100 billion in this way than it took me to say it. What's the consequence? Well, this asset purchase facility then goes and buys back from banks, building societies, pension funds, foreign governments, individual savers, the gilts, which are the bonds which the government sells to balance its books. Now, it's selling a lot of those bonds at present because, of course, it's running a big deficit. It's bound to be running a deficit because we are in lockdown. We are not functioning at a normal level, so tax revenue isn't coming in and expenditure is above expected with the government. The Bank of England buys them back using entirely newly created money. And the net result of this, all these shenanigans, which sound incredibly complicated, is quite simply the Bank of England says simply to the UK Treasury, do you want 100 billion? Here you are, you can have it. They just use a complicated finance mechanism to do it. But the net result is the Bank of England gives the government £100 billion. What does the government do? It pays for the furlough scheme. It pays for the NHS. It pays to keep education open. It pays for universal credit, and so on and so on and so on. But it's not done out of newly created money. Now, is that a problem? No. Why isn't it a problem? Because there's a shortfall of money in the economy and it's making good that deficit. Does it therefore result in inflation? No, because we need enough money to go round. The risk is we don't have enough money to go round. Does the Bank of England understand that? Yes. It knows it's not creating an inflationary risk, or it wouldn't do it because it's told it's not allowed to create an inflationary risk. Is the government worried about inflation? No, because it knows, again, it isn't going to happen. Everybody now knows this. So the money is created by quantitative easing to make sure that the cash keeps flowing. When anybody tells you that as a result of quantitative easing we're going to become like Venezuela or Zimbabwe or the Weimar Republic in Germany in 1920s, where people walked around with wheelbarrows full of money because it was worthless, just tell them, no, we're not. Why aren't we? Because we have a completely functioning, under control government that has no problems in enforcing the law, is not paying foreign companies or governments anything with regard to debt. Everything to do with this is entirely within the UK, and the consequence is we keep functioning. The only alternative to doing this is that we stop functioning. If that's what you want, let's not do QE, but we do want to keep functioning. So quantitative easing is a necessary part of the government's plans over the next months and maybe even years to keep the economy going. This week, whenever the Bank of England announced more quantitative easing, celebrate, because it's that cash that will keep your household literally in money to keep it going round. Thanks for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, I'm pleased. If you want to see other videos like this, there are links below this screen. If you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter as well, @RichardJMurphy. Look at my blog, Tax Research UK. And if you'd like to donate, because this video series is being largely paid for by donations, there is a donations button on every single post on my blog. Thanks a lot.